Hey guys, so welcome back to today's tutorial. In today's tutorial, we're going to talk about how can we create an avatar using HTML and CSS. So this is a bit easy. As you can see in my HTML code, you can see I have a wrapper div that wraps an image, and then that image is this image. So this is being wrapped by a div, and then we need to start styling. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to link the next CSS file which doesn't have the styles we need. Then you can see this one just have the basic CSS styles. So to start off with is that we need to give this wrapper a width and a height. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to select the wrapper. We're selecting it like this because that's the class that it is assigned. So we can say the wrapper and then you give it a width of 200 pixels and a height of 200 pixels. All right, and you can see nothing changed. Then we can give it some background color of red. Then you can see what is happening is that the wrapper is there, but the image has overflown. So what we need to do is we need to add something called overflow of hidden. So we are saying that the containing elements will not overflow past the containing walls of the div. And then you can see where the image positions itself. So to bring the image inside the box, you're going to target the image and then you give it a width of 100%. So it will take 100% of the parent's width. So this is similar to saying that the width is 100% and the height is 100%. This is exactly equals to saying that the image will take the 100% of the parent's width and height. So it's the same as doing, instead of writing 100%, you can write 200 pixels. That would be still the same. But now the reason we use percentage is that in case we change the wrapper width, in case we change the wrapper width, then we don't want to remember to go ahead and change the image. So something else we need to do is that we need to write something called an object fit. And the commonly used one is the cover. So the cover says that the image should fill the parent's width, and then it should fit with cover. We have others like the contain. So if the div was so big, then let's see. Okay, you see now what the contain does. You can see now the image is contained in the middle. But now if I say cover, you can see now it tries to stretch to the full width of the parent as well as keeping the aspect ratio. But now since we do have equal width and height, then doesn't matter too much, but it's still the same thing. All right. So let's work with 200 pixels. So we're going to work with 200 pixels. So something else we need to work on is we need to make sure this one is circular. So we are going to do that from the parent because the parent has overflow of hidden. So when we mask out the borders, then everything else will follow shape. So we're going to do border radius of 50%. So 50% is the circular border radius. Right. So something else we might add is that you can see the cursor is not changing when you hover. We can add a cursor of pointer. So we can say cursor pointer whenever you hover over this image. So something else we might want to do is that we need to add, we don't want to use the red. We want to use the red. Maybe we can use it. Let's try to change the border. So you can say, you can create a border and then give it the border width of 6 pixels. And the border style is solid. And then the color, let's try it black. So it looks a bit weird. So I'm going to change the background color of the wrapper to a color I have chosen. So it is E9, EC, and EF. That's the color I chose. And then we can return our red color back to the border. So next thing you need to work on is the hover effect. So whenever you hover over this, you want the image to zoom in. So to do that, we are going to target the image and then the hover state, and then we can just transform, and then we scale it 1.1. So if you do that, you can see there is a quick shift. There's no easing. There's no all those easing. So to add an easing, we're going to add the easing on the image itself. To add that, you use the transition property, and then the transition, you mention what you want to transition. You want to transition the transform. There is another one that you transition everything, but for our case, we just want to transform, and then we give it the duration. So duration here I can do, let's do 1 second so that you can see 1 second, and then the type of easing. So we want to do ease in. All right. So if you do that, you can see now the easing is taking place, but now this is very slow. That's why we need to work with something like 300 milliseconds. It is still slow, still slow. So you need to do something like 200 milliseconds. Yeah, that looks a bit nice. And yes, guys, that's it. That's how you create an avatar in CSS. So like and share with your friends. Thank you.